How's it going, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest in the behind-the-bar reviews for One Piece. One Piece chapter 937. Let's get into it because we got some color pages. They look really cool, especially the one with the birds and all that stuff. I mean, one was like a jump cover sort of idea, but the next one looked really nice with the big color spread with all the straw hats and all that stuff. That was really cool. The first page is basically something that really, I don't really know why they kind of wasted the page here. It's basically Big Mom, Chopper, and everyone, they're still headed towards, the Udon prison sort of idea, that area. They're still heading towards Udon. And, I mean, I think they're setting up the fact that it's going to be a queen versus a queen here. The queen of the Yonko versus the queen of Kaido's crew, or whatever, playing cards, whatever. Because they're both after this thing that I cannot pronounce. It begins with an O, Oshiriku, or Shiriki, something like that. It's some type of, I guess, red bean food thing, something. It's paste, it's pasta, I have no idea. Suffice it to say, the first page is simply Chopper, Big Mom. They're still on the land shark thing. They're heading towards there, and Chopper's worried that, like, will she go into a rage if we don't find any? What's going to happen? She's into a craving, that kind of stuff. Then in the next couple of pages, we see that, of course, Luffy has just taken care of business. I can't believe they're still sending just pleasures after him. And we see him there in a whole type of stance, and it looks kind of cool. At first I was like, oh, is that some Tai Chi stuff? That looks really cool. But then, no, he's doing more of a sumo thing. But he's palming it. He's doing exactly what he remembers Rayleigh being able to do. They talk about it, and he's simply like, everyone's like, wow, he's defeated so many of the pleasures. And Luffy's mad at himself because he's like, no, this ain't right. This ain't right. I still had to touch them. When Rayleigh did it, he managed to force that elephant back without touching it, using Haki. And then we see, there's Rayleigh there. One little panel, but there's Rayleigh telling Luffy, imagine yourself covered in an invisible armor. And then he talks to old man Hyo, and he says, yeah, Rayleigh used to do that. He had some first-rate, like some high-class, first-class Haki. If I could just do that, I'd be even stronger, sort of idea. So now he's upgraded his observation Haki, not to the level of Katakuri, but getting close, right? And probably not to the level of people like Rayleigh either. Rayleigh probably has that potential. Just because we haven't seen it, we don't know, but then that is what it is. But now here in Wano, in the prison, he's upgrading his physical strength, and it seems he wants to be able to better control and more mastery of his Haki in general, because it's not, I'm unsure what exactly Haki this is. It's not really conquerors, is it? I mean, we don't see the sparks. And is it ornament Haki? Because it's certainly not observation, but there's no black on his hand, there's not the symbol for ornament Haki. So I'm very curious about, this is like a underappreciated version of Haki, or is it just Haki in general? It's just the willpower of Haki in general. I'm very curious about what category this necessarily falls under. Is it ornament? Is it conquerors? I don't know. I don't think it's observation, and I'm going to assume it's ornament Haki. But tell me what your reasoning, guys, is in the comment section down below. I'd really like to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I'm a little unsure. I'm a little confused here. But no, he keeps saying, like, basically bring on the next guy, bring on the next group. Queen is refusing to allow some of the jailers in there, some of the smile users and the headliners, because he thinks it's going to end too quickly. And he's probably, well, he's right. It'll end really quickly with Luffy up chucking them inside the head. But Queen's sitting there eating that very, begins with an O, red bean thing dish, that swells up in your cheeks, I guess, according to Otama and Big Mom, or Olin, I should say, Olinlin. And basically, he's eating it all, and he goes, I brought a ton of it. I'm going to eat it all. I brought all the surrounding stuff. I'm just going to sit here, eat this, and watch this match sort of idea. And so now, that's why everyone's saying, are we going to get the big confrontation? Are we going to get a confrontation between Big Mom and Queen? The Queen versus the Queen? I mean, to be fair, currently, Big Mom, though she's still super strong and stuff, is not in her right mind. So maybe this would almost be a bit of a fair matchup, in a way. Like, is Big Mom, with her memory lapse, is she much of a fighter? Like, sure, she'll still have her Haki, but does she know how to activate it and use it properly? like, does she know how to use her homies? Does she know how to use, like, does she know this stuff? Remember, Chopper acknowledged that the hat has been silent and dormant the whole time. So it's very, it's unsure here exactly what's happening. But though we did see Zeus, so I'm really unsure exactly how a confrontation right now with Big Mom's state of mind would go down. But anyways, we jump over from there, and then we're back to Zoro on the bridge with the Benkai figure, who we do get his name, but I don't know if I can pronounce it. Now, even though there is a G in the translation I read, I believe it's still pronounced Yukimaru. So I'm going to keep calling him Yukimaru because I don't know how to go Gyukimaru. That doesn't sound like a proper name, so I'm going to assume the G is silent here, and I'm going to go with Yukimaru as the Benkai inspired figure here that's the bandit battle monk sort of person that's facing down Zoro on the bridge. Now, they're having a discussion about Ryuma, and everybody knew that this was going to come up at some point, that people were going to go, wait a minute, that's Shushui. What are you doing with our legendary warrior's blade sort of idea? And of course, no one's going to believe him. The exact case is happening right here. He's saying, Ryuma was this legendary samurai. Wano used to be the country of gold. Pirates wanted it. Nobles sought after it. This was the legendary land where, Ryuma was the one who was the legendary samurai who made the world known that Wano was a thing, that samurai were a thing. He even slew a dragon over the skies of the capital and such. Maybe the original holder of Kaido's fruit, I'm just saying, maybe. We don't know. But he talks about all this, and he even talks about, the Meito of Shushui and all that stuff, and he talks about all of that stuff. And it's kind of interesting because Zoro at the time is trying to explain to him, like, well, his soul was in another person's body, but I still met him, and the bandit doesn't want to hear it. But Zoro says, well, here's the thing. I still want to take it back because that's my third sword. He gave it to me. It's mine. Deal with it sort of idea. Now, this is where the bandit attacks and said, this is the man who's, would one slash sort of idea, Batu Jutsu, and he would end enemies in one flash of his sword and all this stuff, and it even grew into a black blade. Now this is going to be the thing that's going to keep the community alive for a little while, is what does this mean? A lot of people have been discussing this. Yoru, being Mihawk's sword, was always black. So is it constantly, Haki? Is it Arnaman Haki'd up consistently? Or is Mihawk doing that? Well, from what we've seen, the blade simply stays that way. And from what we've seen of Shusui, that blade was always black. Though with the purple tint and all that stuff, it was always black. So Zoro clearly has an idea, and I wish I knew where this direction was going, but I don't have a good theory for this, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. I want to say, like, I've come up with a great idea or a great theory for how this is possible, but I just don't know. Apparently, over the many years and many battles, the blade, the Meito grade sword, became black. And that's what Zoro says. You mean it grew into a black blade? Well, wait a minute. Oi, answer me something. You don't mean to say. And the only thing I could come up with is Shusui actually one of the 12 supreme grade swords? Is a Wazumono grade sword, is a Meito grade sword a sword that you consistently, if you're powerful, like could Mihawk eventually turn a sword into a grade sword by simply using it in battles and fighting and the blood of his enemies and all that stuff? By constantly using it as his sword, could he potentially upgrade the sword in that way? Or does it have nothing to do with the grades, and it's simply you can actually turn, like Mihawk once stated, every blade can become a black blade. But, however, that's because of Haki. Mihawk, from what we know, and from Shusui currently, by the sounds of it, is a black blade on the level of Yoru in that way. However, it doesn't seem like anybody's exerting the Haki for it. It's like it's an actual full-on Haki blade, regardless who holds it. That's really interesting to me. I want to know where this direction is going. What's actually happening here? I really like this. I really want to know more about this because I was always curious about that. It's been brought up in a lot of people's discussion videos. I know Tekken covered it one time in a video he did about the Meito grade swords. It's really interesting, but I'm curious and I want to know more. I really wish their conversation hadn't been interrupted. By the looks of it, it's Komurosaki and the little child there. I forget her name. Anyways, they're there and they're running. Oh, please, somebody help us! And then that's when the bandit says, "Opening!" And so I was like, "Dude, like I had my back turned. What are you doing?" Sort of idea, right? Like he's got no time for this. Now, assuming this is Komurosaki, because here's the little kid and stuff, and they ran away. We knew Komurosaki was alive. Did anybody really think she was dead? Of course she's not. She's the only real woman character other than Kinemon's wife that's been introduced consistently in the Wano arc and actually had speaking lines and chapters and stuff. So no, of course she wasn't going to die that quickly. So we all figured that. It's interesting that she got this far on her own. How did that all happen? I'm very curious to see what's going on here, assuming once again it is Komurosaki. I think it is. And then we get the reveal of the killer who's chasing them. You remember that killer poster? And I was so hyped because it looked like a rugged version of Himura Kenshin would look like. Like if he did the Batosai high ponytail thing from back in the day and he grew some scruff sort of idea. That wanted poster that looked so cool and he was like a midnight killer who would slaughter people. Yeah. This is Kamazo the Killer, who's apparently not a killer. Well, he is a killer, but he's actually on Orichi's payroll, according to this woman who's clearly Komurosaki. And, okay. Alright. Oda, clearly you liked the first real villain with a nice design in My Hero Academia. But I'm sorry, the whole Joker smile with band-aids all over and the, it reminds me too much of Stain. I would like to say that this character was cool. He's clearly strong, and he's got a cool fighting style. Not that it matters. It seems he was pretty much cut down at the end of the chapter. But the fact of the matter is that the guy is, I'd like to say he was Makoto Shishio inspired. But he doesn't look that cool. He looks dorky. He's got this weird high ponytail thing that's all, woo! It's not even, and he's, I suppose from his body's okay, his kimono and stuff looks kind of cool. The double sight, the long sort of dual sight thing is kind of interesting. But, I don't know, I didn't feel, no, I'm sorry. I'm glad it was cut down because it really didn't do much for me. Clearly, this was not one of the samurai that Kinemon was mentioning that some of us thought, like I originally thought when that guy was mentioned. Maybe he's one of them. Clearly, it still could be the Midnight Ox Boy, but probably not because I think is the Midnight Ox Boy the warrior monk bandit Yukimaru, or is he not? I don't know. It's hard to say, who's who. A lot of theories there for that. But, yeah, I don't really care for this character. He's just a one-off villain, it seems. I'm a sword for hire, and I kill. You dare, ha 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 ha, and I have a big grin. And bandages all over my face. So, just not a huge fan of the new character. That warrior monk has zero pride. I thought this was supposed to be a duel and honor and stuff, like the way of the samurai. Clearly, that's why they had to refer to Yukimaru as a bandit monk, because he's not fighting the duel with honor. He spoke to Zoro about not turning his back in a duel sort of idea. It's like, wait, our duel is yet to be concluded sort of idea. Zoro was like, yeah, hold that thought. And then we see them clashing sort of idea, because he says, Komurosaki basically says, and why is that little girl, Toko, she's pissing me off. Why is she still laughing? She is still laughing, and that's the reason everybody's in shit in the first place. My God, I'd throw that kid down in the, it looks like it's snowing or something, I'd throw that kid down in the snow and let her freeze. Let her smile, just throw her in the lake, let her freeze, and then she'll be smiling for all eternity. I got no time for her. She basically pleads to Zoro, said, Mr. Swordsman, could you please, Mr. Samurai, could you please help us? He's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to let a woman and child just die in front of me, but food and sake would be a good deal. She's like, deal? He's like, all right. So they go through the battle. The battle seems to, it's implied that it takes quite a long time. They go through clashes. Zoro even says, thinks to himself, you know what, this guy's pretty strong. And then the bandit monk tries to attack him, and he goes, yo, whoa, I'm still doing my thing, sort of idea. And anyway, the battle does go on a long time, and then the bandit monk, once again, waiting for an opening. He's all about honor and duel and Ryuma and stuff, but he's a dishonorable prick. He tries to attack Zoro from behind while he's facing another strong opponent. And because of this interference, Zoro does get stabbed in the shoulder. And it's like, oh, that kind of sucks. But then Zoro uses this as an opportunity. He won't let him get it out. He kind of holds it. He probably flexed his muscle or something. He wouldn't let the Kamazo, whatever, get it out. The killer. He wouldn't let him get it out. And then he's like, all right, well, then I'll just make do with one. He jumps back and he's ready to go. Zoro just like, all right, I got this. He takes the scythe sword in his mouth. So he's got 3-sword style, and he uses Purgatory Onigiri. So we haven't seen that move in a long time. We haven't seen Zoro in a long time. And I'm like, all right. Like, that's fair. It's your upgraded version of Onigiri. And I'm okay with him using a signature move like he did, with Hawkins and stuff. He can use one signature move. I'm fine with it, And it's not his strongest one. He's not using 2,000 Worlds. He's not going to Azura Demon mode or anything against these scrubs like Hawkins. Sorry, all you Hawkins people, but like Hawkins, he's not pulling out all the stops against characters like that. So I like the fact that after a battle, and he's just been battling normally, I didn't see him Haki up any blades, though it's not really necessary, I guess, with Devil Fruit users, I guess, but still, he just decides to finish this off. He's like, Onigiri. And he's down. That's the end of the chapter. Clearly, it looks like the killer's been cut down. I don't really know if he might survive, but he's definitely down for the count. He's got all the scars now. We can see all the blood in the background. So that was the end of the chapter. It was a cool fight with Zoro. We got an actual, basically full Zoro chapter. And we haven't had one of those, actual Zoro chapter, dedicated chapter, in so long I forgot what the character was like. So, no, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was really good. I'm hoping to see more battles with Zoro. I really want to see him push, though. Like, he got distracted, and he wasn't trying the hardest. He wasn't Azura, he wasn't 3,000 Worlds, he didn't arm and Haki up. We have still yet to see. All we have seen from him, remember, is, because a lot of the Sanji and Zoro versus people, which once again, I've always been, I'm not a Zoro fanboy, I'm not a Sanji fanboy. They are not in my top 10 characters. I like them. I like their characters. They're some of my favorite Straw Hats, but they are not my favorite characters. I don't really put one above the other. If I had to, probably Zoro, I guess, but I don't think I'd even go that far. But remember that a lot of people are saying that Sanji's more powerful or is equal or whatever. I've never seen it that way. Zoro, to me, has clearly been the second strongest Straw Hat the entire series. And people are saying because of this raid suit upgrade, he's got to be stronger than Zoro now because of it. And I sit there and I say, we have seen Sanji's upgrade. But other than improved versions of the same sword techniques he used, he's just using a stronger version of the same sword techniques from pre-time skip. And we still haven't seen him in demon form. Is anybody going to sit here and tell me that post-time skip, Zoro has not come up with one new move? If not more, training with Mihawk for 2 years, he didn't gain one new move. He just upgraded he's just better Haki and a couple of upgrades on his original moves. He doesn't have one new signature move, one new ultimate technique. Tell me after post-time skip, he didn't learn a Super Saiyan, a Final Flash, a Bankai. Tell me he didn't learn any of that? Because if you're going to actually sit there and tell me that you don't think that he did any of that, I don't even know where the argument stands. What we have seen is Sanji showcasing his upgrades and his new powers first. That is all we have seen. Similar to other characters, with Luffy and Gear 4th and everything. We simply haven't seen Zoro in a proper fight against a proper swordsman opponent, the first mate of a Yonko crew or something. We haven't seen him go up against another swordsman of equal caliber yet that can push him into tying up the bandana, pulling out all 3 swords, using Azura. We haven't seen him have to do that yet. So when we do, trust me, he'll have a move. He will. And if you don't think so, that's your opinion, of course, but I just don't know what was the point in training with Mihawk that whole time then. You know, like, it wouldn't make sense to not give Zoro a new move after all this. You're going to give Sanji a raid suit, you're going to give everybody upgrades, you're going to give Chopper more control over Monster Point, you're going to give Usopp, of course, is going to have whatever he's got. You're going to give Brook all these new powers with the Yomi Yomi no Mi. You're going to give Luffy a Gear 4th, multiple versions, Bound Man, Tank Man, or... See, I don't think Tank Man's the real form, but that's just me. Snake Man, and there's probably a Lion Man form or something like that. You're going to give all these characters this, but you're not going to give Zoro anything new? I just don't see it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see it. So, but anyways, guys, what did you think of the chapter? What did you think of the review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? This has been One Piece, chapter 937. Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, it's always very much appreciated. And of course, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of Zoro being focused finally. Tell me what you think of the Zoro versus Sanji thing. Has Zoro not really learned anything in the 2-year time skip? Is this the extent of his abilities? Will we not see him ever use a Zoro form again? Or an ultimate technique? Is he ever going to be pushed in a battle? Especially in Wano? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, this has been Griever. Drink responsibly. See you back here next time.